Okay, we finished up our other unit the other day, and we are going to start looking at multiplying bigger numbers. We're going to start with something pretty simple today, which is multiplying by tens and 100s. Multiplying by zeros, of course, has a nice nifty trick to it. And I think we did talk about this earlier in the year, and some of you may know this from before. Okay, what I would like you to do on the top of your paper is write down multiplying tens and 100s. And I would also like you to put the date up there, May 6. Okay, if you're ready, go on. If you're not, just pause. Okay, so what's our goal today? Well, today we want to learn how to use patterns, so things that repeat, to multiply tens and 100s. So when we see a pattern in something, like counting by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. We hear things that repeat, and that makes it easier for us to remember. So we're going to look for patterns today. Okay, they give us a little problem to start out with, and you don't need to write anything else down right now until I tell you to, okay? So here's Diane. Diane is making safety pin bracelets. Even though you don't know what that is, that's okay. We'll figure it out in a minute. She uses 100 beads and 50 safety pins for each. So that's for each bracelet, okay? So there's a little picture there, 100 beads and 50 safety pins. There's not really the whole amount there, but those are the things that she is using. How many pins and beads does Diane need for 5 bracelets? So right here we know what she needs for 1 bracelet. That's what it takes to make 1 bracelet. So we have 2 different things here that we have to think about. One is the beads and one is the safety pins. So first she's going to figure out the number of beads. So 5 times 100 is the number of beads. So she's going to model that. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. 5 times 100 is 5 groups of 100. So that would make, for 5 bracelets, she would have 500 beads. And what was our pattern? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So counting by hundreds. Complete a table like this for up to 5 bracelets. Okay, we sort of did that on the other side there a little bit, but that's okay. Remember, you're not writing this down yet, boys and girls. Okay, so 1 bracelet takes 100 beads. 2 bracelets takes 200 beads. 3 bracelets would take 300 beads. 4 bracelets would take 400 beads. And 5 bracelets would take 500 beads. Okay, so if we're following that pattern, if we had 9 bracelets, we would know that it would take 900 beads. Okay, now she needs to figure out the number of pins. The number of pins was different. For 1 bracelet, she needs 50 pins. So we need to continue this table. Remember, we did a bunch of work with tables a long time ago. Seems like a million years ago. Okay, so 2 bracelets. Now we are counting not by 100s this time. We are counting by 50s. So each time we have to add another group of 50. So 50 plus 50, 100. Plus another 50 for 3 bracelets, 150. Plus another 50 for 4 bracelets, that's 200. Plus another 50 for 5 bracelets, 250. Okay, so the number of pins is 250. How many beads and pins does Diane need? So the beads in the first one was 500 and the pins was 250. Okay, so there's our final answer for 5 bracelets. So that together will make 5 bracelets. Okay, it says, what patterns do you see in your tables? So the first one had a pattern that looked like this. And I want you just to say to yourself right now, this is counting by. And if you said hundreds or 100, we're counting by 100. And then when we did the pins, our pattern looked like this. And think to yourself, that would be counting by 50. So we're seeing a pattern of counting by 100 and a pattern of counting by 50. Okay, now I would like you to write down number 1. And it says, how many beads and pins does Diane need for 7 bracelets? Okay, so let's think about beads. 7 bracelets times 100 beads each equals, so let's count by 100 7 times. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. And we can see when we look at this that we have 7 times 1 is 7. How many zeros do we have in the answer? 2. Sort of like counting by tens. It's a little easy when you just think about the trick to it. Okay, and pins. How many pins for 7 bracelets? So pins, 7 bracelets again, but this time, how many? 50. So now we have to be able to count by 50. So let's do that. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350. But I want you to notice something right here. What is 7 times 5? Or if you know your 5 times tables, 5 times 7. It's 35. And we have 1 0 in our numbers that we're multiplying, and we have 1 0 in the answer. Okay, make sure you have that all written out before you go on to the next page. All right, number 2. 2 has A, B, C, and D. Okay, now you have a choice for these ones. You can count by a number, or you can think about it the way I was showing you. So I will do this one with you. So 7 times 10. Now we already have worked on our 10 times tables a little bit in class. Or you could count by 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. But think to yourself, 7 times 1 is 7, and there is 1 0. Okay, this next one is a perfect example. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't count by 40s usually. So this is much better to think about a little multiplying trick. You do know 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. How many zeros do we see? We see 1. Now, if I was to count by 40s, 40, 80, 120, I would get the exact same answer. Also, if I was to count by 3 40 times, which I'm not going to, I would also get 120. So we get the answer correctly no matter which way we do it. C, 50 times 4. Okay, see if you can figure out this one yourself. Pause the video. All right, I could do this one a couple ways. So I could count by 50 4 times. 50, 100, 150, 200. That's the correct answer. Or I could say 5 times 4 is 20. So that includes the 0. Plus there's another 0 in the question. So I'm going to put another 0 right there. Works out both ways. I could also count by 4s 50 times, which I will not. Okay, next one. 9 times 200. Pause the video and see if you can figure out the 9 times 2 part. Okay, 9 times 2 or 2 times 9 is easier to think about, is 18. Now look at your numbers. In the question, how many zeros do you see? 2 zeros. We're going to put 2 zeros on there. Okay. You could also think about 9 times 100 is 900. And then you could double that. So there's a lot of different ways of thinking about it. Okay. Number 3. Darren's family took 3 trips each year. And boys and girls, this word right here is a clue for multiplication. Each year for 10 years. So that tells us to multiply it. It gives us 2 numbers, 3 and 10. How many trips did his family take in total? 3 trips each year for 10 years. Okay, so 3 times 10 equals 30. All right. I think that you can try the rest of those on your own, number 4, 5, and 6. Just make sure you do the ABCD part of number 4. And number 6, you have to write out the multiplication sentence. You have to write it out so it looks something like that. Okay? All right. Good luck with that one.